Hey everyone, Lesley Myrick here, interior designer and business coach with Nancy Quinn and the Profit Insiders Academy. We've got Kelly here today from Horizons Window Fashions, which I love because we're talking about all the pretty things. Specifically today, we are talking about fabric trends. So Kelly, welcome.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Let's do it. I want to
Let's
see all the
talk.
pretty fabrics. Tell me what's going on. Why are we talking specifically about trending fabrics today?
Well, a couple of things. I think we're nearing the end of the year. And so I think we're kind of organically thinking about the next year. And with that comes kind of a new season of trends and seasonality that we can start thinking about. So I think that is one. And then two is Horizons just launched a new soft program. So we have a full new repertoire sampling book featuring over 80% new fabrics, which kind of organically aligns with the trends that we're going to talk about today. So two things, kind of a new year, fresh look at interior designs and new fabrics from Horizons Window Fashions.
Okay, what do you have for us? I want to see these.
Well, just to kind of back up, speaking to interior designers just like yourself, I did want to mention that at Horizons, we do pretty extensive research. We work with outside design firms, do consumer and customer panels, getting feedback about what they see in their local markets. And then what are we seeing globally? Because unfortunately, as you know, a lot of our trends were a little bit behind when it comes to European fashion. And so we have some of our designers or our product specialists go overseas and do shows and look at textiles and work with our fabricators to start thinking about what these new fabrics and these new collections are going to look like. And then with that, we also kind of narrow it in to three big trends for the next couple of years. We look at this annually. And for 2026, we identified three big trends. Now, this is obviously not black and white. Trends can fluctuate. They can be interpreted differently. But for our kind of a larger company, Springs Window Fashions, we narrowed it down to three trends. One being modern homestead. So that's kind of an elevated cottage core, a little bit more contemporary than I think a couple of years ago. That was like the barn doors, that heavy cottage. And it's taken a little bit more of a contemporary turn with still a huge emphasis on like raw elements, imperfections in like wood or nubs and slubs and fabrics and bringing those textural elements in.
Natural feeling to things, less
people are still loving that, as I'm sure you guys know, but I think it's a little bit more refined than what we've seen in years past. The second trend is monochrome or maybe color drenching. You've heard of that, of just where it's like kind of this one tone or this, it's everywhere in a certain space. But with the intricacies of layering or tone on tone and textures to still give that dimension. Yeah. And then lastly is minimalism. So it's kind of a perfect balance of this maximalism of different patterns, textures, throw it all in one room, and the ultra kind of simplicity. Is that what the Swiss kind of aesthetic where it's like super minimal? It's kind of falling right in the middle of more of like a curated collection of some things that might be a little bit more bold, while other things kind of quiet that down to keep that balance. So we have used those trends that we identified to then really impact the selection of our fabrics for this new collection. Those trends really had a big play in the color stories that we picked, the actual types of fabrics that we selected. For instance, velvets we know are very much trending. And so we added more velvets into the collection for that like richer, comfy feel. That modern homestead with the imperfections and the slubs, we added some really intricate embroidered fabrics for that dimension. And so that was a lot, but I just wanted to give a little bit of background on how trends really do impact at Horizons, what we pick, what we bring to market from a fabric standpoint.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So it sounds like things, there's like a subtlety, but also like a richness, detail, texture, like you mentioned, embroidery, slubs, things that are just, it's not just like a flat linen panel anymore. Like we're doing things that are a little bit like
which
more
which
engaging.
space, you guys know, serves a purpose.
Oh,
So
absolutely. I love a good linen drape, but that's not
by
for
no
everyone
means,
or for
yeah,
every application.
absolutely. By no means have we gone away from the basics, because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, we also know that somebody just might want a white sheer panel, and that's right. And we still have all of that.
Yeah.
But we also know that, especially for like true interior designers, these trending elements make a huge difference in what they're going to pick, which manufacturer they decide to go to. So we at Horizons really understand the need for those trendy, quote unquote, those trendier types of solutions for people who are looking for those.
Awesome. Well, I heard you might have some examples to show us of some of the pretty new fabrics. I would love
I
to see what's
I
going on there
do.
at Horizons.
I do. Like I mentioned, we just launched. It's live now. A whole new soft collection. There's over 200 new SKUs, and over 80% of those are new. So we really kind of started from scratch in terms of the fabrics in our collection. I have the bag right next to me. I won't hold it up because 200 SKUs. It's pretty large, but maybe I'll hold up one deck. So it's a full bag of these decks, and they're
Wow.
separated by color families. So, that's what in our research we've learned. At least somebody kind of understands the color palette that they're looking for. They might not necessarily know I want a botanical versus this, but at least you as the designer also know what color is going to fit within this space. And so we've kind of already pre-separated it out for you in these decks. Each individual fabric swatch, however, is removable. So this is an example of the fabrics that come out of those decks. So it just snaps in and out. And yes, so customers can see, touch, feel what that fabric is going to look like. You probably can't see it, but this is like 3-dimensional embroidery.
You can see that it has a texture to it. And I love that you can pull it out, hold it up to the window for the client, show them what it's going to look like with light through it, put different linings behind it. It's a great
Absolutely.
tool.
We know that's super important. And on the back of the decks is even more information for you as the designer to know what's the repeat. If there's a pattern on it, like what's the repeat size? What is the content of the actual fabric? To some people that's important. And so we try and make it as easy as for you as the designer to have that right at your fingertips versus having to kind of go into different documents and find that information. So this is an example of one of the new fabrics. And again, we took, actually, as I was selecting this, one of the new photography shots we have is of this fabric. And it looks just amazing. This is another, and this is kind of hard to see, but this is also embroidery, like really kind of cool stitching, black and white. We know that's super popular. And I just randomly happened to pull these two. So this is the same velvet. Same fabric in terms of collection, but different colorways. And just like looking at these next to each other, you can like already kind of envision the different types of spaces this fabric would be like amazing in, but maybe this colorway isn't right. And so let's go big and bold, or maybe this one because it's cool and textural, but I want a more subtle color palette. And so I just think showing these two was kind of interesting next to each other. And that's just one example. All of our collections have multiple colorways in them. So it'll be the same kind of design and base fabric, but in multiple different colorways.
I like that.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
I love the texture that we're seeing. This makes me so excited. I know you've got the beautiful plains and the basics too, but it's so fun to see more exciting stuff going on the windows because it can be such a great detail.
And trends and colors, like that's what everyone wants to talk about because that's the fun stuff, not like how much does it cost? What's the price? But while I'm maybe bringing up some additional photography that I wanted to share with you guys, I'll just start speaking to and reminding you all that Horizons is really, in my opinion, and I'm a little biased, but the best of both worlds. Whereas we do have this amazing collection of all these fabrics that we have in stock that, we kind of pre-selected for you. But we still have a very robust COM program. So that is a customer's own material program where you as the designer could maybe fall in love with the fabric that we don't have in our collection. We can still manufacture that into your whatever window treatment that you need. Drapery, Roman shades. We do a soft roller program where you can apply a soft fabric, but on a roller type of application. And so I just want to point out that while I'm very proud and excited about this new soft collection, Horizons goes way beyond that in terms of our capabilities and working with you and bringing your designs to life with, fabrics that you already know and love. We will just kind of be the manufacturer to bring those treatments.
You can be the workroom for designers that are
Exactly.
sourcing their fabric elsewhere. That's really good to know. So you obviously have amazing fabric options, but we as designers are not limited to what Horizons has in fabrics.
Absolutely. And hopefully you can see my screen here.
Yes, I'm going to pull this up. Beautiful. Oh, that's a fun fabric. Those look, and it's so neat to see the fabric up close versus the overall effect in the room.
Absolutely. So these are just a couple of shots, and these are all new fabrics. So we do our own photography, and as a designer, you would have access to this photography to help show clients, to help use on your website, to help kind of manage expectations. As a Horizons dealer, this is all available to you to help, again, kind of envision with the clients what their spaces might look like with these Horizons fabrics. This room, sorry if it's a little blurry, but this one I love to show because this is a COM fabric, what we're showing. Up here on the cornice, it mimics this wallpaper back here. So this is a COM fabric that a designer supplied that was wallpaper. And then we took that fabric, the fabric version of it, and made it into a cornice. And I just think that is like a huge design element that just would make or break a room.
What a cool detail. And that's cool that cornices are coming back. Like that's not a thing I've heard a lot of in the past few years, but they're definitely, they can be really cool and current, which I like this, that people are going back to decorating and really making their windows. It's more of a statement again.
Layering, form, function. I actually kind of going back to trends. One other trend, not necessarily a Springs trend, but I was doing a little bit of research. And one trend that I found for 2026, was called elevated functionality, which is the molding of beauty and practicality, which I think is a perfect description of window treatments where it adds a design element to the room. It looks amazing. It adds texture. It's visually interesting, but it serves a purpose in the room. Privacy, light control. So I just thought that trend coming in for 2026 and beyond was like the perfect match for window treatments.
Love it.
Here's another cornice or valance. And again, this kind of goes back to that monochrome or color drench situation. I love how it's like so matchy with that pop of the drapery. This, maybe you could say, would be like a maximalism with patterns, texture, layering. The close-up down here, I want to point out, is a design modification element that Horizons offers. So even outside of our standard offering of like shades, drapery, we also have a program called design modifications where we can kind of go out of scope to bring your design to life. So if you want something kind of above and beyond and unique and intricate, you can work with our design modification team and we can bring that to life, which I think really sets Horizons apart with other window factory manufacturers.
Yeah, what a cool detail. I like.
This is like, again, I think that monochrome, like really tone on tone. Everything's in the same family, but the textural elements is what kind of boldens out certain things. And I also love thinking outside the window, as I'm sure you guys do every day, where think about drapery or the usage of drapery as a design element. So you can see this drapery on a traversing rod is behind the bed is kind of like a secondary layer to a headboard, which I just love.
It's a different way of approaching a feature wall or a focal wall in a room.
Absolutely. This is another design modification, and this is a close-up, obviously, of a drapery, but as you can see, the top, I think half of it is vertical, which is how that fabric kind of comes, but we've turned that fabric on its side and done a railroad version for that kind of strip in the middle to kind of break up the two types of patterns, and then it goes into a third drapery solution. And I just think that's so cool.
That's very creative to use that striped fabric in two different ways on the same panel. That's really interesting.
Yes. Ooh. And I think this will be the last one that I share, but I just love this room because this is also the perfect, I think, balance of that minimalism or kind of like the pretty ugly, where it's like everything else is so clean, so sharp. And then you have this pop of this crazy pattern and color of the window shade. So I just think this one's like really
I think that's fun. I mean, white roller shades, they have their place. We all like a good basic, but what a neat, can you imagine how different that room would look with just like white or off-white roller shades versus the room feels so complete to me. Like everything was thought through and intentional in this design.
Absolutely.
That's very fun. All right. So I know designers are going, okay, yeah, gimme. Where do I get these fabrics? So if they go to horizonshades.com, apparently I can't talk right now. And you mentioned that there is a design gallery that has inspiration images of the new beautiful photography we just saw. Can designers get free samples? Do they have to open an account first? What does that look like?
We do recommend you open an account, obviously, to kind of get access to all things Horizons has to offer. And you can do that through that horizonshades.com website. If you go to the bottom, there's a section called Become a Dealer, and you just fill out a form. And actually, the interior design forum is a "Where did you hear about us" option.
Awesome. So Nancy's group, the Interior Design Business Forum. Fantastic.
And if and when that's picked, you guys get 10% off all Horizons for the first month of your account being open. So wanted to point that out, that if you are interested at all, please reach out. We're happy to work with you. And even if you don't want to open an account right away, we can connect you with someone to learn more about Horizons capabilities for sure.
Amazing. I know local workrooms are few and far between. It can be really, really hard. I've been there to get window treatments made. So I love having you as a resource and knowing that you've got these incredible capabilities for customizations. This isn't just, not that we're knocking them, standard white linen, plain panels, but you can really tune into Horizon as your design team for window treatments and get those beautiful custom window treatments for clients and make a margin on them, because that's part of how we stay in business.
That's right.
Awesome. Well, Kelly, thank you. Any final thoughts to share before we wrap up today?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on. Thanks for letting us kind of just chat about fun stuff and new trends and colors. And again, if you're interested at all about learning more about Horizons Window Fashions, please reach out. They'll get you either in contact with me or reach out directly through the website, and we will hook you up.
Fantastic. Thank you, Kelly. And thank you everyone for watching.